Hey everyone, welcome to the Current Surf Show. I'm your host, Old Surf Dad, and with me is T-Bone. T-Bone, we're going to do a recap of the 2024 season, and our friends at Stab have helped us out with a template. So let's jump into it right here. Boom. And I think we'll go back and forth. We'll take turns.
Sounds good, man.
Did you watch some edits, T-Bone? Let's start with best edit. Who do you got for that one, T-Bone?
Mate, I'll be cheeky. I'll say, you know what I really enjoyed? Nibbler. For a
Dude.
young guy, Hughie Vaughn. Have you seen Nibbler?
Yeah,
It's
I have.
insane.
I
He
have.
mate, he
If
packs some big waves on that.
dude, he not only yeah, sorry, go ahead. I'm so excited that you said that.
he's a freak of nature, that kid. I don't know how old he is now, 16, 17. And obviously his older brother Joel just qualified for the CT next year. But when I watched that, I thought, wow, this kid's this kid's got a big future. So I love that edit, and I'll jump in and give you a quick second one. Conehead by Soli Bailey. I watched that a few months ago, a couple of months ago when it came out, and man, Soli Bailey is just on a tear, and it was so good. It was just so surprising. I, I knew he charged. I knew he had a bit of a reputation before he came on tour. Um, but man, that's such a good edit as well.
So your pick's going to be Nibbler?
I'm going to go Nibbler only because he's a young kid. I just thought super impressed on what he can do. So I'll go Nibbler. I just wanted to give Conehead just a mention, just a shout out, because
Well,
that's freaking good too.
dude, my answer is going to be the same with several that I loved, and Nibbler was on my list. I think Hughie Vaughn, he's a little skinny kid. If you don't know who he is, from Australia, and he does charge big barrels. He's not afraid of big waves, and his airs are like, everyone says the word next level,
Off
but
chops.
he's pushing what you can do in the air and then the height you can get on an air to a different stage. And I think it's just pushing the boundaries of surfing. And I loved Nibbler. I thought it was creative and fun. I think in Conehead, Conehead was going to be my pick. But what I remembered, that the edit that really hit me last year, that really made me go, wow, was the Surfline Maps to Nowhere, the episode with Caity Simmers and
Okay.
Soli Bailey and Timo Simmers. That Caity
Yeah,
Simmers,
man.
that edit was so good, and I enjoyed the Maps to Nowhere entire series, but that particular edit stood out for me as my favorite edit.
Yep.
And the only other one I had out there is Cam Richards is his name. Is it Cam Richards? His video or his edit Free Time is incredible. Like, take a moment if you haven't seen that, and just with this Cam Richards guy, I don't even know, is he American? Is he Aussie? I'm not even sure. But he
I think
freaking
he's American
rips,
or
dude.
Hawaiian, huh? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it could be. New Jersey, who the hell knows? But I should probably know more about this
Yeah.
kid, but it was on a list that I was recommended to look at, and I watched that video and it was blown away. But my edit's going to be Surfline Maps to Nowhere, the Caity Simmers edition.
Nice.
Let's go to best film. This one was easy and then not so easy, and I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna start with this one. T-Bone, on the list was Chasing Monsters, and Chasing Monsters would be hands down the easiest pick for me for best film. But for me, that was last year. I think that came out two
That's
years
what I
ago.
thought, man. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't count that because that would have been last year. I saw it 2 years ago in a premiere over in Los Angeles. They had an under the radar kind of premiere I got invited to, and and I was blown away. I loved it. But this year, I mean, for me, this is the easiest pick of all. Motel Hell is crazy. It's just crazy, and so clever. And Harry Bryant, dude, you would almost want to pick him for Surfer of the Year just based on this edit. It is a fun watch, man, and he's got all his friends in there charging slabs and perfect waves and doing airs. And as Yagador said, going to places I would not want to go on a surf trip and absolutely crushing. What's your best film?
Dude, we talked about this film this year, Laser
I
Breathing Dragons.
Yes.
You knew I was going to say that. Like
I thought you
the
might.
word film, yeah, it just encompasses the word film. You're in the film industry, mate. It just had everything in a film, a surf film that I love. And the three stars in it, Stephanie Gilmore, Tom Curran, and Mason Ho. Now that's a trifecta of some unique, unique people. You know, it was so funny. It was so Tom Curran like. You know, some of the surfing was amazing. There's probably better surfing, better waves in other films, but there was something about it, about that film by Nick Pollitt and Vaughn I just loved, and for me,
I did too. I did too.
Yeah,
It's definitely
such
like
a fun thing to watch.
it was, man, and I didn't forget about it, but I just thought Motel Hell had more surfing and a broader theme of a film for me. Although Laser Breathing Dragons was so fun, and Vaughn Deadly's a genius, dude. He really is. I love everything he puts out. But yeah, so there you go. If you haven't watched either one of those two, please do yourself a favor and check those out. And by the way, I'd love to see what you think. What are your best edits and best films? Put it in the comments below. We next go to best YouTube. T-Bone, there's only one right answer here. What would that be?
Yeah, I do know a guy. Yeah. Old Surf Dad, current surf show. Come on.
Hey, somebody put the current surf show. Somebody put Old Surf Dad's YouTube in there just to take the piss, just so I get on the radar with Stab. But truthfully, this one's so easy for me. Nathan Florence's YouTube is it's hard not to pick here. It's got everything. And I just talked about it in the last video that we did on Waimea. A link in the description has a bunch of videos we just made. One talking about Filipe, saying he's better than John. One talking about the Vans Pipe Masters, and one talking about Waimea Bay. Check all those out in the link in the description, or at the end of the video, you'll be able to click on it. But any others out there that you enjoy YouTube channels, T-Bone?
Well, Nate Florence, I think we're on the same page there. His humility, his humbleness, it's just so good, so entertaining and to watch, and just so real. You know, I think that's why watching Nate Florence. To be honest, not many others. I personally don't watch many other YouTubes bar Nate Florence, to be honest with you. I've flicked on to a few here and there. I'll watch bits and pieces, but I never return to any of them. Yeah, hands down Nate Florence.
Occasionally, yeah, and to piggyback on what you said about Nate Florence, when he makes a video, you feel like you're hanging out with him. You know, and I think there's something special about, like, hey, I'm going to go on a surf trip today for half an hour, and I'm going to go surfing with Nate Florence, and I have none of the skills that he has, but I sure do enjoy going surfing with him, and that's what it feels like. And you just can't capture that authenticity like he does it. It's really amazing. And I would say that the other, I think John's YouTube is definitely worth a follow, because he makes more of films in his. And he doesn't put them out very often, but when he does, he did one of Rio, and he did one. He as he goes, you know, Eric, his filmer is really great, and they edit these things together, and it has beautiful B-roll of where they are, and so that's definitely worth a follow. But you know, Nathan's in a completely different zone. I'll occasionally click on a Jamie O'Brien. And I'll occasionally click on Mason Hose, just to see, if there's something exciting there, if they go to Mexico or when Mason Hose in Indonesia. But Nathan Florence all the way. How about we go into best males and females?
One more.
Oh, please tell me. Yes.
Jacob Wilcox started making chips clips. He's actually just had a premiere back home called Chips. I think it's called Chips. I haven't seen it, but check out Jacob Wilcox. He's traveling with a whole bunch of rip curl surfers on the Challenger series, and he's making really fun little YouTube edits. So if he keeps doing it, I think you'll get quite a. It's quite cool to see a really cool edit, cool YouTube of people on tour. I think some people are interested to see how people get on, the trials and tribulations of traveling the world. So Jacob Wilcox, check his YouTube out. He did put out a 2024 Challenger end of year YouTube, and it's quite fun to watch actually.
Yeah, I love that kid, and I follow him on Instagram. I'll definitely follow him on YouTube. I don't, and I don't know why I don't, but or subscribe to him on YouTube. And you can subscribe to us here too. Anyway, Jacob Wilcox, I think he has an opportunity because he surfs such good waves so well in the West there. He has an opportunity just to have a career out there doing that. I just wish he would make the CT once and for all, and or he has, but return to the CT where he belongs. Speaking of which,
for sure,
let's go to. I have women first. Let's go to. It's best males on Stab. Let's go best males first. You want to roll off your list, or should we go onesie twosies?
Let's roll off our list. I can roll off mine. Mine are pretty predictable, mate. It's hard. All right. It's hard not to go past
Florence.
Best surfer in the world.
You cut out for 1 second, and I think you said John Florence, like everyone has said, and he will walk away with this so easily.
Yes. I'll give you my top 5. John, Nate. They're just the best two surfers of 2024, hands down. In a free surfing and a competitive aspect.
God, yeah, exactly.
Jack Robbo.
Mate.
I passed Jack. I mean, Jack's had a good, silver medalist. I mean, he's had a good year, Jack. He's, we love Jack Robbo. He won Margaret's. He beat John. So, I've got to put him in the best males. Now, these two guys, they start in trilogy, the latest trilogy. Ethan and Griffin, I just think they got big futures. They're two of the best surfers in the world.
Ethan.
We've talked about Ethan a lot, and Griffin. He's got I think those two surfers are going to be top 5 surfers for a long time coming. It was just hard not to leave them out.
Yeah, I see all those. I have Griffin on my alternate list. I'm going to run through mine. Pretty similar. The first two, John and Nathan, it's hard not to pick those two. For best surf of the year, I almost put Nathan ahead of John, but John won the title against all odds and just had a tremendous year with second place finishes and the win in El Salvador. He just dominated the world tour, and Nathan's dominated the world slab tour. So it's hard not to pick them. Yeah, you know who my third, all right, I'm going to run the rest of them off are going to be controversial. I picked Elo at number 3, and let me explain. Elo is number 2 in the world.
Okay.
Competitively, but he had 2 events. He won 2 events last year. No one else did that. He won Tahiti and he won Rio. And I think overall his surfing, as coached by Reynos Hayes, has taken a new turn. And every time I see him on Instagram, His airs are getting higher. His turns are getting sharper. I just thought he looked good last year. Now, a lot of you are going to say, and you can say this in the comments, that's a bad pick. And I'm going to back Elo because I think he had a great year. And he nearly beat John for the world title again. So it's been a bit of a comeback for him after a couple years of, average performances, mostly blamed on judging. My next pick is Soli Bailey. And Soli Bailey because of Conehead. If you watch Conehead, you'll see what I'm talking about, as T-Bone and I both, rolled out. But the other one is he's in that Maps to Nowhere, and the guy is getting pitted in Maps to Nowhere in that gnarly section. And then he also got that Wave of the Year in Fiji. Do you remember?
Yeah, I did. Incredible.
He got that Wave of the Day in Fiji. And I don't know. I don't think I need to go on. Now, my last one, I really struggle with this because I wanted to pick Griffin, Gabriel, Mason Ho, Harry Bryant, Jack Robbo, Mike February. But I picked Yago Dora. And you're going to say
Yago Dora.
What the hell? Yago Dora?
No, I rate Yago Dora, man. I rate him.
I pick Yago Dora, and here's why. He surfed better than he's ever surfed before, and on a CT level, I feel like he should have done better. I really do. I feel like maybe as a judging, but his airs looked higher and more tweaked out. His turns look crisper, and his speed, he's surfing like I think everyone wants to surf. And I'll tell you, next year, he's got to make the top 5. I don't know why he wouldn't make the top 5. He's going to be my pick to go pretty far next year. So there's my top 5. John, Nathan, Elo, Soli Bailey, and Yago Dora.
Yago Dora's solid pick, mate. I do rate Yago Dora, and I like him a lot. No, very solid pick.
We're going to go to the women, unless you had any other people you're thinking about there. But the women, I'm going to say this. Caity, I said to her, hey, who would you pick top 5 women last year? I'm going to warm us up with her picks.
Go for it.
She said, Caity, obviously, world champion, and I just love her. Yeah. And I just love the way she surfs. And she goes, Erin Brooks, she's going to really put pressure on everybody next year. And then she said, Vahine, she's just the queen. I just love Vahine, and I love the way she surfed. And then she said, you got to put Caroline in there. I mean, you just got to put Caroline in there. And then she said Tati. So there's a pretty good list. Compete with that, T-Bone. That's pretty solid. Mine is different, but I want to hear yours.
Listen, Caity Simmers as well, for multiple reasons. I think we all know the reasons. World champ, and she had that Maps Nowhere section. She just won I think 2 or 3 events. I couldn't go past Caroline Marks, gold medalist. I just couldn't go past her. So she obviously had a great year, made the final 5. Tatiana, I just think she's solid. She was solid last year, and she performed.
So she's number 3 for you? So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Caity, Caity, Caroline, Tatiana. Very nice.
Yeah. I just couldn't go past Tati. I just think she performed and Chopes when the CT was there. It was just really impressive, and silver medalist. So you've got to give her some props. Yeah. And she looked really good at Trestles. She looked really sharp in those opening heats. Vahine Fiera, I just love watching her surf, and she's a tube specialist, isn't she? She made the CT, and I think she's got a bright future. And last one, 8 times world champ Steph Gilmore.
Nice.
It's a bit of a curveball, that one, mate. But I thought I'd throw that one in. She had some great edits. She was in that film. the laser breathing dragons. I still think she is the most stylish female surfer of all time. I
Yeah,
watched
I
a clip
agree.
of her. I can't remember where it was, but when you slow it down, I just think she's still the most stylish female surfer of all time.
Art in
That's my
motion.
five,
Art
mate.
in motion. That is, man, that was a solid argument, and I want to change my picks. No, I'm going to stay with my picks. Here's what I decided to do. I went Caity, as we're all going to go Caity, world champion, and she did a lot, and she has that intangible of cool and her own style that just it makes you really like her and want to cheer for her, and I just dig Caity and what she's about. Aaron Brooks is my number two. And the reason she's my number two is because all across the world, one second you see her charging in the Mentawais, the next second she's in Tahiti. She's not even in the event, and she's getting monster barrels in Tahiti. And the next second she's in the CS getting wave of the event and a backhand tube at Snapper. I had to pick her at number two. Number three, and her potential. Plus, she came into Cloudbreak with, against all the top pros and absolutely destroyed them. And then Caroline, gold medalist. You said it. She's hard not to put in that list. So Caity, Aaron, Caroline. My next one, and I almost feel like I should have put Vahine there, but I put Sierra Kerr. And the reason I put Sierra Kerr is she's very busy. She's all around the world also surfing. She dropped an edit that I didn't really like the style of the edit, but I did like her surfing. And she's also getting tubes all over the place. And at the end of the year, T-Bone, you and I watched her reel off 3 QSs in a row, including Philippines, including, was it Nias? Or I just see her, I just can't not see her on Instagram getting another great barrel. So I put her at number 4. And number 5, I'm surprised that you put her on your list. I'm putting her on my list too. Tati is underrated, bro. Tati got to 10. Tati surfed great. I mean, you said it really well, and I thought I was going to have to kind of argue on behalf of Tati, but you made the argument for me. And she was a silver medalist and probably could have won that heat. I'm just so stoked to see her doing well because she puts the work in, dude. And her turns
Yeah,
on Instagram just get better every time out. And the one thing we forgot was we forgot our juniors to wrap this up. My junior
I know.
in the men's, I want to say Zion Walla. And if you haven't seen Zion Walla, little 13-year-old kid charging Puerto Escondido on those step offs, it's not even, you can't even watch that and go, is that a 13-year-old kid? Because he's charging these monster Pasquales or Puerto Escondido waves. But the one I ended up picking was Dane Henry. If you go watch this kid surf,
He's good, man.
he's good. Who's your junior in the men's?
Dude, I was calling. Listen, um, I was favouring the local boy here, young Ned Hart. He's sponsored
Yeah,
by Florence. Okay, 2023, I think that was his breakout year, and he won the Young Gun Award at the Big Wave Awards. But I follow his Instagram, young Ned, and he's such a great young kid. And he is chasing slabs, Ireland, Portugal, Hawaii, Tahiti.
that's a good one.
What's really good for Ned is he's in the Florence camp, and so he's getting to hang out with the likes of Nate Florence and that crew. So I think he's got a really bright future. He's such a great kid, and he's had some great clips, and he's just getting better every year. He's just getting better
Mm.
and better. So he's one to watch out for.
And he's such a
little Grommy. Yeah, he was my junior.
I don't know if I'm following that kid. I'm going to follow him on Instagram as soon as this is done. And there was a few new follows on mine for some of these young kids. I like to see them develop and work their way into the CT. And by the way, CT's less than a month away, dude. And I can't wait to watch this. I'm very excited about this season. I've got a lot of cool
Let's
stuff
go.
coming, everyone. I've got 2 fantasy leagues. I've got videos coming. I've got a new website that's happening. So a lot of work going on behind the
Busy,
scenes.
man.
It'll all be
Sounds
released
sick.
soon. We didn't do our junior women's to wrap this up, and I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, dude. I've got one, and I actually put Erin,
Tis my
because she's 17. Like I just assumed that she's a junior, being 17.
Yeah,
Um,
she would be easy to put there. I decided not to put her just because I put her on my main list. But I see what you're saying. She should be the junior. I just
she
picked.
she
Tell me
she,
who the
could have.
second one is. If you had a
Sorry, my wife
backup.
just come in.
No, don't worry
No,
about it. I
like,
can't see it on screen.
one thing I'll say about Erin Brooks, she ran the Fiji Pro as a wild card, and Joel Parko did the same thing back in 1999 as a wild card at J-Bay.
Ah,
Now, Joel Parker's had a long career, and I can tell you now, Erin Brooks is probably got a few more a few more accolades if you compare her at 17 to compare Joel at 18. Erin Brooks by a country mile could have made the top 5. Like, you must have been thinking, what the hell is T-Bone not putting Erin Brooks in his top 5? I think
I was.
yeah,
But I also thought that you probably put her as a junior, and a lot of people did that, and they
yeah.
should. I ended up not doing that because I wanted to save that space for somebody else because it's just like such a landslide. So I love Sky
So many good young
Brown's
kids.
surf skate style, but she's not going to make that list. Patty
Yeah,
Zhao deserves a mention, her name, just because she was written off in Tahiti and she came in and she got a couple waves, the Chinese girl in the Olympics
yeah,
at Tahiti.
yeah.
And then the one that everyone is talking about, and I've watched some of her clips, is 13-year-old girl named Tia Brzezowski or whatever. I can't say her last
I
name,
think
but
I've seen
Tia.
it. Man.
And she's unbelievably mature in her surfing and her style. And then the person
Yep.
that I picked, and I talked about her edit, you're going to know who it is, this Aussie girl, Mila Coco Brown. She has
Oh
an edit
yeah,
called
yeah.
Odyssey, and that girl does everything. She has solid
Incredible.
air game. She's not afraid to take off, and there's some shots of
Yeah.
her at Lance's right, just completely getting pitted. It's pretty
Shacked.
cool. And then she went to the Vance Pipe Masters. Didn't do so well because the waves weren't really in her favor in her heats, but it's great to see. So that's who I see as a future behind your Erin Brooks. That there's a lot of
Yeah.
really incredible men and women athletes, surfers coming in, and
Stacked.
I just love to watch it, man. I do.
It's exciting, mate. It's surfing's got an exciting future. Let's see what 25 brings, mate. I'm sure let's see if it's going to raise the bar again. So
I
you
think so. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. You can check out all our other videos in the description below. We made 4 videos today. If you want to watch the whole podcast where we get into the nitty gritty, it is on our podcast channel, Current Surf Show, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. For Old Surf Dad and T-Bone signing out. Thanks for joining us.
Happy New Year, dudes
Yeah.
and dudettes.
Happy New Year, everybody. See you next year.